Hey everybody, I'm Joe DeGanzik, and this is Life in the Smarter Home. This is one of our Q&A episodes. In fact, it's the second one of the month for LED and general lighting advice and your questions and my answers. I've been under the weather a little bit, that's why these episodes are delayed, but trust me, I actually feel better than my voice sounds. But I had to get these episodes out there before people start complaining. We're changing the format of the Q&A a little bit because we wanted to kind of ultimately catch up with all the historical questions and comments, but they've all been answered directly, so everyone got their answers, and I thought we would just never catch up to real time, so I've changed it. So now each month we're going to answer the best about 3 or 4 questions from the previous month, and so now we'll actually be current. So these questions and comments are all from April 2016, before and after the name change. So hope you're liking the new graphics and intros and all that cool stuff, and being in 1080p HD. All right, so let's get right on to it, and we'll put the email address out there for you to email in a little bit later. An email from Ryan Karnes. So this one I have some personal experience with, not with exactly what he's saying, but we'll get to it. Good evening. I just wanted to say great job with the videos. Thank you. I always like the feedback from the viewers. The thumbs up on the episodes obviously tells YouTube and other people that the episodes are good. But obviously the direct feedback is fantastic. I've been watching them since your first video last April. Longtime fan. That's fantastic. That's like 2 years, that's fantastic. Thank you. Love it. Here's the thing. I just replaced an aged incandescent bulb in my grandmother's garage door opener with a 9-watt A19 LED bulb. The problem is that the bulb remains dimly lit after the off timer actuates. Basically you close the garage door or you open it and the light stays on a little bit and then it's supposed to turn off. Well, the light doesn't turn off anymore. It's probably an older garage door opener. Before, the incandescent bulb would shut completely off, but it's not the same with the LED bulb. Any idea why this might be happening? I haven't done any electrical changes yet. Could be a wiring issue. Probably not. But I wasn't sure if LED bulbs have this problem near active power sources or not. So, I know this doesn't happen with CFL because I had a garage door opener at a house several years ago, like almost 10 years ago. And I had replaced the incandescent bulbs with CFL, which was the thing at the time. I guess LED was really not viable as a general lighting source at that point. So what he's talking about is that some of these older devices with timer circuits or motion sensors, in-wall motion sensors that also have timer circuits that will shut something off, they tend to, for whatever reason of how the circuit is built and designed, that a tiny amount of current is still going to flow through that circuit. Now, on my garage door opener, this wasn't a thing because the CFL went completely off. The CFLs are not like a digital device. They're like LEDs are, and so they behave differently. They're also not exactly like a traditional incandescent, and most CFLs are not dimmable anyways. But anyways, what he's saying is the LED is not turning off completely. This may be simply an issue with your garage door opener and the way that timer and that circuit activates or deactivates when it's supposed to turn off. I also saw this on a timer on a in-wall motion sensor. I had this in a closet several years ago, and it was a great thing. So you can walk in and the light turns on, leave, and 30 seconds later the light turns off. I also had problems getting several varieties of LED bulbs to shut off all the way, and I ultimately abandoned it and simply put in a regular incandescent bulb of a lower wattage because I figured it's only going to be on for a minute or two at a time anyway, so I'm not really saving that much energy by putting an LED in there. So again, you may not be able to solve this. You can try other LED bulbs and see if they exhibit the same behavior. You can also try, they're harder to find nowadays because most manufacturers have made them dimmable. You can attempt to find non-dimmable LED bulbs that will just be straight on or straight off. They may allow you to actually see that bulb turn all the way off instead of show up as really, really, really dim. Or in a worst case scenario, you may be stuck with incandescent light bulbs or CFL light bulbs as well, which will still be marketed and sold for a while, several years to come. They're not LED, but it may solve your problem instead of trying to buy a new garage door opener. That's really the best thing that I can suggest. Try a few LED bulbs. If it still doesn't work, then try CFL. There's few cases that I will recommend CFL, but this is one of those cases. So thank you for your kind words, and thank you for your email. So let's move on. Email from Dan West. I'm contacting you to help me choose a Bluetooth dimmable color changing bulb. I'm having difficulty picking between many choices. Lucero, Flux, Magic Light, Revigi, Sataji. These bulbs range from 7 to 10 watts. I'm okay with that. I'll be using 3 bulbs for the bedroom. The price range $28 to $40. I'm okay with those too. I'm asking if you can recommend something and if you have expertise. Not going to hold you responsible if I'm not happy with it. Which would you choose? Okay, so I'll try to make this a short response. But to me, even though we've reviewed one of these bulbs, and I've got it right here, this is the Revigi Bluetooth LED bulb that we reviewed back in the fall. It's a good bulb. It's a Bluetooth LED light bulb. It does what it says it's going to do. But to me, not to you, but to me, for my purposes, these and all of their similar Bluetooth-only app-controlled bulbs are completely, they're just novelties. They're like, to me, they're useless. But to you, they may be helpful. You may want to get into home automation by just getting these bulbs. You said you're going to get them for your bedroom. Maybe you're going to expand to additional bulb conversions around your home at some point in the future. All of them, and I will say all of them, and I looked up every single brand you mentioned, and I've looked up other brands of these as well in the past. They're basically all a dime a dozen, and you may look on some of the reviews on, say, Amazon or other websites, and you may see some of these bulbs, like the Satachi, I believe, is essentially the same bulb with a different name on it. And I don't even know if Revigi is the actual maker of the bulb or if it's someone else and it's Revigi's name on someone else's bulb. It's hard to tell with a lot of the products directly from Asia because we just don't know. The packaging isn't the greatest and you just really don't know who's really making it. And they don't necessarily reveal that information. Lucero appears to be an actual US-based company. I'm not sure why they got into making Bluetooth bulbs. And the other ones are very similar. They're all, in fact, very similar. They differ in, and I have my notes here just so I can be very, very accurate for you. They seem to differ. Lucero and the Magic Light, you can control 50 of these bulbs, not of this bulb, but you can control 50 bulbs in their line from the app. On the Revigi, you can control 10. Now, it's most likely an app issue. It's most likely not a hardware issue because the bulb itself is just communicating back to your device, your smartphone or your tablet, whatever Bluetooth smart device you have. So Revigi says 10 right now. I think they could probably increase that with a firmware update. I can't imagine it's some real limitation in the bulb itself because all the bulbs are independent. They're communicating not to each other, they're communicating back to the app. This bulb, the Revigi, and maybe the Satachi, because they seem to be the same thing, has a feature, a presence kind of detection, like a proximity feature, which we're going to talk about more at length on an upcoming episode with our Zuli smart plugs. We first talked about in December. We're going to check out their proximity stuff, which is proprietary. But this has a proximity detection very similar to how the August works. Once you get close, it unlocks. This, if you get close to it and you have it turned on, within about 10 feet or so, it'll turn on. And if you leave the area, then it'll turn off. It's a nifty feature, but it's kind of annoying if lights are always turning on and off automatically. Sometimes it's just not necessary. These bulbs, aside from that, do all of the same thing. They will say there's a party mode, there's a music changing mode, you can schedule them, you can wake up to them, you can change to every color, you can do various color temperatures to keep you awake or to put you to sleep, or whatever. They all pretty much do the same thing. They are, like you said, priced between $30 and $40 each. I can only vouch for this one, and we were sent this one, and we did a review only to sort of satisfy that, but we only did a review of it because I said it's actually a pretty good product. People send us stuff all the time, or they want to send us stuff that is not really that great, and we won't review it. So anyways, I think the Revigi is a good product for what it does, but also realize that these bulbs, unless in the future that there are smart hubs that are out there that get upgraded, or new ones that come about, like some new smart things or something else that have Bluetooth capability that can translate to Wi-Fi and an external, your external internet, then you could have remote control of this. These Bluetooth only bulbs mean you can control them only when you're at home and when you're in range of them. So if you leave the light on and it's not set to turn off automatically on a schedule or something like that, if you leave it on and you leave home, you're out of luck. It's going to, unless you have proximity turned on, it's stuck on like any regular light bulb. These are kind of like ecosystem products as well. You're stuck with Revigi. There's no other app that can control it. You're stuck within their system and their system alone, and it's Bluetooth only. I just want to say that so you know what you're getting into. The reason I like the Philips Hue and other products, I haven't officially tested LifeX, but anything that's not Bluetooth only is going to have the capability built in to talk to multiple different types of apps and ecosystems and other smart hubs and whatnot. So like I said, I think it's a good product, and if you only want to do this type of thing, then it's good. If you want to do something else with these lights in the future, you're stuck with Revigi or whoever you go with. I can't say that any more at all. And I know you said you're not going to hold me responsible, so thank you so much for that. But anyways, I just figured I would get that out there and just make you completely aware of that fact. You're buying into an ecosystem, you're locked into it, and that's it unless they choose to expand it. And right now the technology doesn't really support that. So there you go. Thank you for the question, and I hope that you can get you can pick your poison of the 5 or 6 that are out there. And that's just, the ones that he mentioned. From June Hong, a comment: I need to replace several PAR 38 flood bulbs for high hats in a vaulted ceiling. They have to be dimmable. What do you recommend? She didn't say what color temperature, but that's okay. They're available in anything from warm white to, to more of a cool white or a daylight white. Okay, so this is a favorite topic of mine. This is not a PAR 38. This is a PAR 30. This is a short neck PAR 30 because basically there's no extension between the body of the bulb and the screw. If it's a long neck, it's going to be a bit longer, about an inch or so longer. Again, this is a PAR 30. This is an older model with all the fins and all that stuff. This is from TCP. Now, they also make PAR 38s, and they look actually today more like halogen bulbs of years ago. Because they've got that smooth shell body, and it's white, and it's got the full lens on the front of it. TCP, now we've reviewed other bulbs from other manufacturers. We've been sent bulbs to test, but we haven't actually specifically reviewed anything that is a PAR bulb. And a PAR bulb used to be parabolic aluminized reflector. Now PAR is just a term because obviously these LED bulbs are not like the exact same technology, reflector technology, and the actual build of an older halogen PAR. But it's the same sort of shape and the same design and so forth, so it will fit in your fixture. I did a lot of research years ago because I used to use uplighting and downlighting almost exclusively in a home that I had several homes ago. And I wanted to move to LED, but I was not going to compromise on the quality of the light and the dimming and the smoothness of it and potential flicker and the the color rendering and whatnot. So it took me a long time to find a single company that we have not we've definitely not been paid to talk about this. I have not been personally paid, and I've paid them a reasonable amount of money over the years to buy their lamps. TCP is hands down the industry leader in no compromise dimming, the best light quality, and just for definitely for focused beam. They also make BR, which is kind of the bulbous shaped, more soft. It's just what you would consider a regular flood bulb. It's putting out a general soft diffused light, not a focused light like these guys. Anyways, I make a long story short, TCP is hands down the best. It took me several years to find them. Their literature said 0.5% to 100% smooth dimming, and they didn't fail. And I'm very, 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 very picky with LEDs, and especially with downlighting and just lighting in general. But these guys, and we'll provide a link so you can get a PAR 38 from them. I can't speak highly of them. I cannot speak any more highly of them. They are just outstanding. So that's what I would recommend for you, and I think you'll be very happy. They obviously do come in multiple color temperatures, so you just need to know which one you're replacing. And if you're going from incandescent or halogen, you're probably coming from about 3000K, especially at halogen level. You're probably coming from 3000K, so that's where you would be. So TCP, you can't go wrong. I use these in, I have 5 of these in my home, and they're just fantastic. This is about a 75 watt equivalent LED, and it's a warm white 2700K, and this is a PAR 30 short neck for those of you who may be watching this and need something like this instead of a PAR 38. PAR 38 is going to be a larger size, doesn't come in short or long neck, and fits these fixtures that are going to be in high ceilings and put out a huge amount of light. So there is your question. Thank you so much for your question. Hopefully that answers it for you. Let's see the next one. I think we've got a couple of these guys because we're trying to just get a bunch of these in. From Shimons, or Shimons, it's a comment. This is a great video. Thank you. I think this was, I'm not sure which video this was from. I picked up some Osram bulbs prior to viewing this video, so I think this was the Osram video. They were a good deal at Lowe's. I've not been disappointed, but one went out. It got hot and it went out. Heat kills LEDs in general. I have a number of BR40 incandescents in my home, and I'm trying to explore which LED to replace them. I have some BR30s. Do you have a review on floods? I've noticed that some companies like TCP only make BR40s as an 85 watt equivalent, and you're not a fan of the sunset effect, but I'm looking for a nice dimmable BR40 that also comes in a BR30. Okay, so this sort of dovetails with the previous question. So this is the PAR 30 that I was just talking about. And this is a BR30. This is from Cree, and basically it's just putting light out from the front, and it's a diffused light, and it's not focused at all. But you can tell that they are roughly, physically, in terms of the diameter, roughly the same size. And you can also see that this is what we, the short neck on the PAR 30, and the BR30 is what would be called a long neck, but really that's just the size that BR30s generally come in. So a BR40, which we reviewed one from Maxima a few months ago. The challenge in terms of finding BR40s that are less in equivalent wattage or light output is that a BR40, much like a PAR 38, is going to go into a can or some sort of flood fixture in a high ceiling or something, and it's going to put out a lot of light because it's a large bulb. It's about 10 to 20% wider in diameter than this guy, the 30s. So I have some recommendations for you based on sites that I've used, such as 1000bulbs.com, and there is Kobe Electric, which has some good reviews, and Green Creative do make BR40s that are at that are lower than 85 watts in terms of the equivalent light output, or what we would think of just watts don't represent light output, lumens do, but most people are familiar more with watts than lumens. So those companies do make BR40s that will do what you want to do, but depending on if you have the BR40 on a dimmer, you could get one that is the 85 watt equivalent and simply dim it down, but that may not be an option for you. So those are two companies. I do believe also they make BR30s as well, so you could go with the same line. Green Creative is a company that I'm familiar with, and it's a company that's been around for a number of years. The industry is familiar with it. Kobe Electric has good reviews from that site, but I had never heard of them, so it sounds like and I don't know who they are company, but many of these new LED lighting companies, most people have never heard of them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I hope that answers your question. I'll put some links out there for you, and you can take a look at that. These should be available in multiple color temperatures depending on what you need: warm white, soft white, bright white, halogen, or daylight white. So hopefully that solves it. And they are also dimmable, which is what you asked for as well. That is it. Oh, $13 each. My bad. This is such a... Thank goodness I have my notes, because otherwise I wouldn't know what I was... I wouldn't know all the exact details. All right, Patreon. Michael D., Patrick B., Patrick M., Richard B. Thank you for being part of the Smarter Home Life Patreon community. That's a long way of saying thank you for financially contributing to us, for helping to make these episodes be a thing, helping me to continue to actually put this stuff out there. I saw this the other day and I thought it was funny. I thought it was a little aggressive on the back of a pedicab running around like Old Town Scottsdale that said, "This is not a hobby." And it's true. This venture, now rebranded and reanimated with all the new intros and everything, this is not a hobby. This is something that I'm going to be putting more and more time into. And while your contributions are not required, they're awesome to have. It helps with so many things. Some manufacturers supply us with products to talk about. Some manufacturers don't. And I will always want to bring you the best of the best, so sometimes we have to just buy stuff and review it. And then projects cost money, and all the upgrades to equipment and software and all those things ultimately cost money. We make a little bit from the Amazon affiliate links. We make some from here, from there, for the ads. So everything adds up, and the old adage of, if I had a dollar for every subscriber of the 4,000 subscribers to the channel, then that would be like pretty darn amazing. So thank you to everyone who's already subscribed, contributed. Patreon is a way to do it on a monthly basis, and there are some perks depending on how much you contribute. And if you don't want to do it on a monthly basis, if you just want to say, hey, you guys are worth like $5 one time, there's a button on the right side. I'm not going to point to it because it's probably the wrong side. The right side of the YouTube channel, of our main YouTube channel, that says support this channel. And you can just contribute $5, just right there. So don't forget to send in your questions and comments. Questions at smarterhomelife.com is the email address. You can always comment on an episode as well. Probably better to do both. Put a comment so it's publicly available, and also send it in just so I have a way of kind of keeping everything in one pile. We get a lot of emails and comments all the time, so easier to keep track of. But outside of that, that's the email address. Keep those questions and comments coming. We're going to continue to do these dual episodes at the beginning of each month covering the questions from the previous month. And get out there and automate your world. I'm Jody Ganzik. See you next time.